Presentation of Traveling Kansas, Colby is brought to you by an underwriting grant from Colby Convention and Visitors Bureau. Look forward to seeing you. Information on attractions, lodging, and events is available at oasisontheplains.com.
S&T Communications, local people, local service, local solutions.
Palace Drugstore, your good neighbor pharmacy. Be well and well informed. Strut Insurance Services, proud to sponsor today's show and look forward to serving your insurance needs. Since 1977, Farm and Ranch Realty of Colby has built their reputation on experience, expertise, and excellence. When you list with Farm and Ranch Realty of Colby, it's as good as sold. Everyone at Colby Ag Center, Oakley Ag, and Hoxie Implement are proud to support programming that features local friends and events. Our heritage is helping us build our future, and your local Case IH dealer will be your partner in facing the challenges of tomorrow. Always a fast, friendly stop, Oasis Travel Plaza invites you to take a break in Colby. Stretch your legs and enjoy our parks, museum, and then fill up with your favorites, including Qdoba, Quiznos Subs, and Starbucks Coffee. Oasis Travel Plaza, just off I-70 in Colby. People State Bank is proud to sponsor programming that spotlights our community, our neighbors, and our friends. People State Bank is here to serve all your financial needs, whatever they might be.
Join us for a visit to see places of interest and attractions right here in Kansas. This is Traveling Kansas.
I'm Ralph Fisher. I came to the Colby Visitor Center 12 years ago, and I enjoyed it so much I'm still here. We started out with a grain bin because this is wheat country. So this building is a wheat bin in wheat country. And it's been interesting because we're right next to Interstate 70, and it's surprising the number of people that come off of that from all states, and I think 53 foreign countries have visited Colby Visitor Center. Colby's not that big a town. It's about 5,500 people, but it's the largest town between Hays, Kansas and Denver, and that's 300 miles. We get lots of interesting people, almost always, all of them. I'd say 99% of the people that come through the door here are friendly people and pleasant to talk to. It's interesting, Colby was built on Highway 24, and it stayed that way for 80 years. And then the interstate came along, and now Colby is edging towards the interstate, which kind of tells us that if you want to sell something, you got to be where people are, where traffic is. You know, this is a kind of a unique building. And in fact, I tell people it's the only visitor center in the world that's just like this. We started out with a grain bin. It would have held 3,000 bushels of wheat if they hadn't cut all the holes in it. Almost every visitor notices the panorama above of 1907 Colby. There were about 3,000 people here then. A man from Michigan stood where I'm standing, and he turned around and said, "I count 42 windmills." So maybe that's why they call it Land of the Windmills. In fact, somebody wrote a book, Land of the Windmills, Thomas County, Kansas, and it's full of pictures. We have brochures from all, I'd say 130 places to go and see. I think there's 140 brochures, but 130 different places to see and visit. You know, it would be nice if you came to see us, then you could see firsthand what this small town has to offer. Probably the biggest thing about Colby is the people. It's not unusual to walk down a sidewalk and have people say hi at you. Or to drive down the street, you need to keep one hand on the top of the steering wheel so you can wave at them because they're going to wave back. I'd say that's the outstanding thing about Colby. But it's a great place to live. It's a great place to visit. And for goodness sakes, come to the visitor center here because we have coffee, we have friendship, we I like to say we have the cleanest restrooms in western Kansas. Now, I might find somebody take issue with that, but on the other hand, I believe we have people that repeat that the only reason they stop is come off the interstate is because we have a clean restroom. In fact, one of the things I like about my job at the visitor center here is meeting the people that come from places I have never been. They're going to places I have never seen, but I enjoy the people from Philadelphia, Ohio, Pennsylvania. In fact, I don't think I've ever met, I don't hardly ever meet somebody that is not warm or kind. They're just, people that come to this place are pleasant people, and they're fun to visit with.
Hello, I'm Gary Adrian. That's Mayor of the City of Colby, and I'm just beginning my second four-year term. And it's been a distinct privilege and an honor to represent the city. My family has a huge history here. My great-grandparents came here in 1885 to homestead. My great-grandmother was a single woman when she did that. They were the second couple married in the Methodist Church here, so I have awfully deep roots. Very few could challenge me to have deeper roots, and there are a few that do. We are right now at the Thomas County Courthouse, it was dedicated in 1906. My grandfather was 11 at the time, and he remembers coming to the grand opening, and I was at the centennial celebration in 2006 when we celebrated the 100th year of this building. It's just been terrific. A building of personality. This is something that all the people who return say they have to go see the courthouse, and they end up right down here on 3rd Street looking up, because it's just such an iconic thing for the city of Colby. And it's interesting for you to note there's a building just exactly like this in Osborne County. The same architect and construction people built two buildings alike. I'd like to point out that in front of the courthouse is a statue of a lady waving a kitchen towel. In the days when they didn't have cell phones or walkie-talkies, that's how you signal either an emergency or lunch or dinner is ready. And it was dedicated in 1985, which would have been a century past when they first started homesteading here in 1885. City Hall was built in the 1930s with the work programs to get people to work to get out of the Depression. Rather proud building too. It has its own architecture, it's limestone, it's just a building that's got personality, and it's City Hall right now. The old hospital that was built in 1941, expanded in 1948, and had fallen into ruin, and we got federal funding and grants, and it's a historical registry site. It's been converted to 30 apartments, 6 one-bedroom and 24 two-bedroom apartments for people with needs or just low-income housing. And it's full, great assets, beautiful building, and they kept it in its old preservation. It's a beautiful building. The community building was dedicated in 1954, a huge arena, had 1,900 occupancy, biggest one in the state. State wrestling was held here when all classes were together. It's just been a huge thing for City of Colby. Draw crowds, conventions, tournaments, you name it. It's a building that, just by its use of bringing people to town, generates a lot for our economy here in Colby. Our aquatic park is now in its 4th year of operation. It's built, paid for it by 3/4 sales tax. It has a water slide, Olympic pool. It has lazy river. Even has a pool that's only 12 inches deep for little tots to play in. And it's just been such a boom for Colby to enjoy. And right next to it is the poolside park, which is a new park with slides and all kinds of things for kids to use. And just north of that is 2.2-mile walking trail that's been completed. They've planted trees all along it, winds to the south part of town, through the Colby College, and back down to the aquatic park. We have plans, we have formal plans to expand biking trails and hiking trails through the city of Colby in the next 10 or 15 years. We're going to do it so much at a time as we can, so it won't be a strain on our budget, and get it. It's something that people of Colby will use, and it's amazing to me how many people use the walking trail. It's just been such a plus. Agriculture still is our #1 business. However, Colby isn't at the mercy of agriculture like most cities where you have big, huge booms and great big busts. We have the college and the interstate. We have 700 motel rooms that average nearly 80% occupancy year-round. So that's a lot of money every night here in Colby. The college, with the students here, that's a huge economic factor in their faculty. So we still have rise and fall with agriculture, but we're not totally dependent, and that's really been a help. Because if it was strictly agriculture, sometimes you have great booms and really disastrous falling out. So we don't have that. Citizens Medical Center right now is becoming very much a regional hospital for the county. I believe we have 8 physicians. I think the total skilled medical people is like 20 or 21. I mean, we have a lot of people. What's unusual about our hospital, they do not receive 1 cent from city or county. They are self-sustaining. So it can be done, and it is done here, and very successfully. They just had an $8 million expansion that they could finance themselves and did not get any money from the taxpayers of Thomas County. That's very unusual.
Presentation of Traveling Kansas Colby is brought to you by an underwriting grant from always a fast, friendly stop. Oasis Travel Plaza invites you to take a break in Colby. Stretch your legs and enjoy our parks, museum, and then fill up with your favorites, including Qdoba, Quiznos subs, and Starbucks coffee. Oasis Travel Plaza, just off I-70 in Colby. People's State Bank is proud to sponsor programming that spotlights our community, our neighbors, and our friends. People's State Bank is here to serve all your financial needs, whatever they might be. Farm Credit of Western Kansas, proud to serve the ag and livestock industry in Western Kansas. From Farmland of Colby, improving lives, improving the environment, improving communities. Southwind Plaza puts friendly into a visit to Colby. Located just off I-70, you can browse Kansas sampler, antiques, and more. Colby Dodge can put you back on the road in a totally new look. And finish the trip at Gambino's Pizza, located in downtown Colby. Southwind Plaza and Gambino's, an oasis of friendly service. Farm and Ranch Realty, Porlocker Jewelers, Midwest Energy, Woofter Construction and Irrigation.
I'm Mike Morley, Corporate Communications Manager for Midwest Energy. We are at the Midwest Energy Community Solar Array, which is located just north of Colby, Kansas. The Midwest Community Array is the first community solar array in Kansas. What community solar is where you have a large array consisting of hundreds or even thousands of panels, and each of those panels are owned by different individuals. In this array, we have 3,960 panels that are owned by dozens of different Midwest Energy customers. Some are commercial businesses. We have schools that own panels, churches, a lot of residential, there's farms, there's even a few oil wells that are powered by solar. So when you think of the irony of using solar generated electricity to extract oil from the ground, that's pretty interesting. This array has a capacity of 1 megawatt, which is about enough to power 150 homes when it's producing at peak capacity. The next largest solar array that I'm aware of in Kansas is 0.5 megawatt, and that's located out on Fort Riley. All the panels are mounted on a tracking system, and that's also somewhat unique. Of all the photovoltaic installations in the U.S., there's maybe 3 or 4% that are on a tracking system. And what that does is it faces the panels to the east in the morning as the sun is off to the east, and as it passes to the west, every 15 minutes, the array will kick over about 2 degrees until the panels face fully west. That gets you about a 30% gain in efficiency compared to if the panels were, say, mounted stationary on your roof or out in the field. And anybody who has an electric meter with Midwest Energy can purchase panels in this array. If anyone's interested in community solar, there's 2 ways you can learn more about it. First is to visit the Midwest Energy website, mwenergy.com. And on that, we've got a whole page dedicated to community solar. It kind of explains how it works, the pricing, etc. The second way is to contact Clean Energy Collective. That's the developer of our array. They have a website called mwecommunitysolar.com. We have several customers that have bought enough solar panels to offset all of their electric consumption. It's a very broad group of customers that have bought panels. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see several other utilities and their customers expressing similar interests, and other utilities adding solar, maybe not community solar, but certainly adding that to their generation portfolios and putting more renewables on the grid.
I'm Chris Griffin. I'm the director here at the Prairie Museum of Art and History in Colby, Kansas. Here at the Prairie Museum of Art and History, we are really two museums in one. Inside the galleries, the Cusca galleries, are filled with wonderful decorative arts. There's glass, ceramics, dolls, toys, a local history exhibit, a military exhibit, a kids' corner to play with. Outside we have a pioneer living site, a one-room school, a country church, a sod house, a 1930s Depression house, and the largest barn in Kansas, the Cooper Barn. Nellie's first doll was given to her when she was 7 years old, and it was a bisque doll that was already probably 30 years old at that time. She earned it for learning her multiplication tables at the age of 7. That kind of started her whole life of collecting, and Nellie loved to collect everything. There's everything from matchbook covers to myosin china. When the Cusca collection came here, it took 3 large moving vans to get here and was over 28,000 artifacts. The Richard doll was one of Nellie's very favorite acquisitions. This doll is one of only 5 in the world. She's very famous because of the necklace that she wears. Those are stanhopes that each one holds a little tiny painting, a miniaturized painting of paintings from the Louvre and other French art. But she's very rare and very beautiful. People would give their dolls to Nellie. They would give their dolls because they knew that she would take care of them and love them just like they did. Everything had to be researched. Nellie knew the story of the dolls and knew the story of all of her artifacts, but none of that was written down and none of it was documented. So in order to display and label things, we had to actually do the research ourselves. One of the special galleries that we just completed in the last few years is our military exhibit. And it has uniforms from World War I clear through Iraq, and each uniform was worn by someone serving in a military that lived in Thomas County. Nellie loved glass, and the glass gallery was one of the very first galleries that we finished. We had a fabulous collection of Tiffany art glass that she had. Some of the pieces are very rare and lovely to see. Learning about Depression glass was a lot of fun. These were glass pieces that came in boxes of soap or oatmeal, and the regular American woman and housewife could make a collection just simply by being a good consumer. And she would usually prefer to get it in a certain pattern. She could trade those patterns with her friends and colors, and so you could end up with a whole set of Depression glass. Nowadays, people buy them for outrageous prices at secondhand stores and antique shops. One of the best parts about my job is when people come out of the gallery, they say, "Oh my goodness, what a fabulous collection. You don't understand what kind of pieces these are." And I do, oddly enough, understand because I did most of the research on the objects that we do have on exhibit. I am awfully proud to be able to work with a collection like this. There's nothing between Kansas City and Denver that could even come close. It's an everyday experience to investigate and find new things in the collection. I would say weekly I find something that I didn't realize that we had, just because I've never been through that part of the collection yet. There's over 40,000 artifacts in our collection, 28,000 of which belong to Nellie. At the Prairie Museum, on the grounds you'll see a 1930s farmhouse. The house is fully furnished, mostly with the belongings of the Ellers, and it's just like walking back through time. There's a one-room schoolhouse that also shows the time period back when people of the era lived no more than a mile or two away from their neighbors, and everybody walked to school, to a one-room school. At one time, there was over 94 one-room schools just in Thomas County. The sod house really describes how it was and what it was like. There were no trees, so people built their homes by plowing up sod and stacking the bricks. Some of these homes would last up to 50 years, and they provided shelter and were easy to heat, easy to keep cool in the summer, were just the perfect abode for people coming out here with little or no money getting started in settlement. The Lone Star Church is also on our grounds and available to see and rent for weddings. It is 100 years old this year, and it was built by Danish settlers in the northern part of Thomas County, and makes a great wedding venue. The Cooper Barn was built in 1936 by the Foster Farms Company over by Rexford, and they raised show Hereford cattle. They also raised Clydesdale horses, some of which were sold to the Budweiser Company. They had lots of wheat acreage as well. The Cooper Barn is purported to be the largest barn in Kansas. Even when it was built, it was a large barn for this part of the country. It, in fact, had a little sister barn that was its exact replica, only smaller, that housed the Clydesdale horses. The Cooper Barn was moved here all in one piece in 1992. It was a great event, and people all over the country stopped to watch it. It was area-wide news. It was nationwide news when it was moved here. Since then, we've worked to put in an agricultural exhibit. It has everything from settlement period right on up to our local dairy farms from the last few years. So we try to do a good job using the artifacts that we have, as well as photographs and stories from that time. The Cooper Barn and the Lone Star Church are available for weddings, for family get-togethers, for any sort of program that you might want. For more information, you can look on our website, prairiemuseum.org, or give us a call. And we look forward to seeing you.
Well, hello, my name is Bob McLemore. I'm the fire chief in Colby, Kansas, and I have been involved in the Picking on the Plains Bluegrass Festival for over 20 years now. Started as a small event with family and friends, and over the years has grown to include many national known acts, 3 days of fun. If you like good acoustic music with excellent musicians, this is a place to be in the third weekend in July. The activities will begin Friday night, June 17th at the Thomas County Fairgrounds here in Colby, Kansas. Start at 6 o'clock in the evening and go to 10 o'clock or maybe later, depends how late the bands want to go. On Saturday then, the shows will start in earnest at about 1 o'clock and then go on through till 11 o'clock that evening. And many of the groups we're having this year, the national known acts, would be Third Time Out, the Spinney Brothers, Jeff Scroggins in Colorado, the Rambling Rooks, and my favorite, Driven, which is my sons are in that one, so I got to give them a plug. And the KBA Troublemakers, which is a really neat little group. The Kansas Bluegrass Association formed this as a project a few years ago, and so they have young people who have to audition to get in the KBA Troublemakers, and then they perform throughout the year, and I believe they age out at 18 years of age. But it just keeps new people going into the bluegrass field and learning their instruments, learning how to play, how to perform on stage. So they're a really good group. They're young people, they're fun to watch, they're energetic. We also have some local talent every year. That would include the Sap of Strings, Wayne and Millie Lawrenson, Larry Booth, the McLemore family, and we hopefully get Marshall Allen Bailey, who is our MC, to do some tunes with the Silver Bullets there too. It's just a lot of fun. There's something always going on. And if you want to hear great musical talent, it's my experience that some of the best musicians are bluegrass musicians. For those of you who've never experienced a Bluegrass Festival before, it's a great family atmosphere. We do it in July, third weekend, 17th, 18th, and 19th. And sometimes it tends to be a little warm that time of year, but we have a canopy for shade for a large area, encompasses almost everyone that shows up. If it's really hot, I'll turn on the water misters, kind of cools the area down. And like I said, it is family friendly, so bring your children. Children under 12 are free. Come in, they can get to play with other kids, or they can watch the music or whatever they'd like to do. Also, a lot of people who do bluegrass like to camp at the Bluegrass Festivals. We have camping on site. If you would like more information on any of the bluegrass activities, time, date, cost of tickets, any of those sort of things, you can go to pickingontheplains.com or call the Colby Chamber of Commerce and the Convention and Tourism Bureau.
We would love to have you come visit Colby. We have these historical sites here. It's a friendly city, and we're a very proud city. As you come in on Highway 25 from the interstate, we've planted trees all up and down there. We have an extensive tree planting program in the city to beautify Colby, and we're very proud, and we'd love to share it with you.
Presentation of Traveling Kansas Colby is brought to you by an underwriting grant from Farmland of Colby, improving lives, improving the environment, improving communities. Southwind Plaza puts friendly into a visit to Colby. Located just off I-70, you can browse Kansas sampler, antiques, and more. Colby Dodge can put you back on the road in a totally new look. And finish the trip at Gambino's Pizza, located in downtown Colby. Southwind Plaza and Gambino's, an oasis of friendly service. Farm and Ranch Realty, Porlocker Jewelers, Midwest Energy, Woofter Construction and Irrigation. Colby Convention and Visitors Bureau look forward to seeing you. Information on attractions, lodging, and events is available at oasisontheplains.com.
S&T Communications, local people, local service, local solutions.
Palace Drugstore, your good neighbor pharmacy. Be well and well informed. Strut Insurance Services, proud to sponsor today's show and look forward to serving your insurance needs. Since 1977, Farm and Ranch Realty of Colby has built their reputation on experience, expertise, and excellence. When you list with Farm and Ranch Realty of Colby, it's as good as sold. Everyone at Colby Ag Center, Oakley Ag, and Hoxie Implement are proud to support programming that features local friends and events. Our heritage is helping us build our future, and your local Case IH dealer will be your partner in facing the challenges of tomorrow. Farm Credit of Western Kansas, proud to serve the ag and livestock industry in Western Kansas.